Welcome to The C.L.I.M.B. It's a show dedicated to helping singers, songwriters, and indie artists like you create leverage in the music business. C.L.I.M.B. stands for Creating Leverage in the Music Business. That's called an acronym. Learn it, love it. Let me introduce you to my co-host and good friend, Mr. Brent Baxter. Brent's an award-winning hit songwriter with cuts by Alan Jackson, Randy Travis, Lady Antebellum, Joe Nichols, and more. But that's not all he does. He helps songwriters like you turn pro by teaching the art, the craft, and the business of songwriting. You can find Brent at manvsrow.com. That's manvsrow.com. Or the newly rebranded songwritingpro.com. Same store, different storefronts, because he's so cool, he got to have two doors to come in.
There you go. And I'd like to introduce you to my co-host, Johnny Dwinell. Johnny owns Daredevil Production. It's an innovative artist development company. They help you find your sound, and they help you find your audience. Not only do they develop and improve your artistry, they also grow and monetize your fan base, creating cash flow.
Get the cash flow, yeah.
Daredevil has worked with Captain America and Thor and other Daredevil.
No, Daredevil.
different Daredevil. Daredevil has worked with multi-platinum artists like Colin Ray, Tracy Lawrence, Ty Herndon, and Andy Griggs, just to name a few. You can find Johnny at daredevilproduction.com. That's production, singular, no S. Why no S? Because there's only one Johnny D.
Well, thank you, sir. How you doing, my good friend?
Man, I'm doing all right. You know, the leaves are thinking about changing color, and it's starting to get a little nip in the air.
Yeah.
It's getting a little cool. It's football season.
It's football season! Oh!
I know.
I love it. I'm a huge Packer fan. Like, cheese. Nothing. Listen, there's nothing I like better than sitting down in front of the TV with a block of cheese the size of a car battery and a cocktail and watching the Packers beat somebody up. I love it.
There you go. As you beat up your insides. All right.
Right.
Well, I'm a Razorback fan, so I'm on the Razorback roller coaster and the Arkansas State Red Wolves bandwagon, and I'm spending way too much time in front of the TV and on sports websites these days. But I figure I might as well channel that, make it worthwhile, redeem it, and bring it in here to the podcast. So that's actually what we're going to talk about a little bit today is songwriting and football.
Interesting.
Yes. Well, that's the goal. We hope so for a certain segment.
I can't wait to see what you've concocted,
our listening
my good
audience.
sir.
Right. So, yeah, actually, I think there are some parallels. I used to play football. Johnny, did you ever play football?
I did not play football. I was, however, 6'2" my freshman year. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, my 7th and 8th grade, like every 3 months, I grew out of a pair of shoes. It was like freaking Frankenstein or something, dude. And my next door neighbor was actually the football coach and just wanted me to be on the team so bad because I was just bigger than everybody else. And you know what? People get hurt out there. I love telling other people to hurt other people, but I don't want to be the one doing it. So, no, I never played football.
I got you. I did play. I played junior high and high school. Loved it. I was most of my time as an offensive lineman, which, if you see me, you are surprised by that.
Yeah.
But
I'd peg you for a receiver.
Exactly, until you see me run and try to catch something. Exactly. Yeah, I was a little bit bigger back then, more muscle.
So you hold out your hands to catch the ball and I hit you in the head. And then they're like, you know what? We should move you to the front line.
best chances for the ball to stick in my face mask and not just run down the field with it. But, so I was better at moving people than I was at catching footballs. But and really, thankfully, these days, I'm a whole lot better at catching song ideas than I am at catching footballs.
I would say so, sir.
Which is the ultra smooth route running segue that I just dropped on you about today's topic.
Beautiful.
Yes.
I love it.
That's right. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about if inspiration is the quarterback, then the songwriter is a receiver.
Okay.
There you go. So inspiration is a quarterback, we're going to be the receiver. So, like any good receiver, we, the songwriter, we want to catch the deep ball, make the great idea that's like a 50-yard touchdown pass. But like receivers, we can't make the quarterback throw us the ball.
Sure.
Sport, right? So there are some things we can do to make it, a little more likely that inspiration will actually throw us the deep ball.
Okay.
We can kind
stack the deck in our favor.
Stack the deck in our favor. Woo the muse. whatever you want to call it. Some things we can do to make it a little more likely that that great idea is going to come our way. And so that's what we want to talk about today.
I love it. Okay, so go on.
We got 4 downs here.
Four downs. Oh, that's so clever
first
how
down.
you did that. You're so smart.
Oh, that was just right off the cuff there. All right, first down. I'm ready to go watch some football. You got to get on the field, all right? You got to show up with your pads and your helmet on. You got to lace up your cleats. Nobody ever caught a touchdown pass in the locker room, all right? You got to get in the game, all right? You got to pick up the guitar or the pen or the laptop or whatever it is and get on the field. You got to show up.
Yeah.
That's for one. Inspiration may strike when you're in the checkout line at the grocery store, but not consistently, not enough. You got to get in the game.
Yeah, man. I mean, isn't that the part of the biggest piece of the pie of the recipe for success too? Is show up.
Show up.
You've got to show up. Wishing isn't working. Wanting isn't working. Dreaming isn't working. We all wish and we all want and we all dream, but working, you got to show up to get it done. And that's where you're going to take your licks. That's where you're going to lose a couple. You're going to learn. You're going to win a couple. You're going to learn.
Exactly. I mean, I've taught whole courses on, and workshops on finding more song ideas, and so much of, and not one single technique I teach in that class is hope.
Yeah.
Go about your day and inspiration to show up. That's not in the course materials. What is how to get you on the field, how to show up, how to strap up and get on the playing field. You got to show up and get prepared to work and to win. So number one is get on the field. So pick up the guitar, pick up the pen, fire up the laptop, whatever your tools are, your equipment, turn them on, and you got to show up. So simple as that. First down, show up, get on the field. All right, second down, you got to run reliable routes. Okay, so you're not going to get the ball thrown to you on every play. Some days you sit down and the brilliant idea just isn't there. It's just not there every time. Some days you get no ideas. Some days you get mediocre ideas. Most of the time you get all right ideas. And it's rare to get that brilliant idea. But every time you got to run the route like you're going to get the ball. Like that idea is going to be there.
Yeah.
Some of the techniques I use when I'm to get the machinery up and running, to get on the field and to hopefully, catch one of those good ideas. I don't know if the ball's coming to me, but I gotta show up like it is. Yeah. I gotta show up because today might be that day I get that Monday morning church idea, exactly. So I got to show up like that might be there. And I know most of the time it's not going to be there, but I don't know what time it is going to be there. So every time I want to run my routes, get set up, get in the mindset, because today might be that day. They may call my number and I might be the third option, but the other 2 guys are covered. The muse throws me the ball because Craig Wiseman, I don't know, was at the swimming pool today or something, So,
hey, I got a question for you, man. This is you're talking about execution here, essentially. Like these are 4 downs. These are 4 different tools, techniques that you use to successfully execute. And to be prepared for the muse when it comes. But I know that sometimes, like, you walk into a room with, you got some ideas that you've gotten before, and I'm wondering, how do you honor the muse? Like, Keith Richards woke up in the middle of the night and recorded the Satisfaction guitar riff, and then went back to sleep, woke up, forget about forgetting, thinking when the muse comes, I'll remember that tomorrow, and you do it. He actually did what he was supposed to do, and he honored the muse, went back to sleep, and then forgot he even freaking recorded it. Now it's Keith. I mean, who knows what state of mind he was in, but he presses play. He's like, wow. So are there things when no matter what you're doing, that you've just got to drop everything and do something to make sure you capture that little lyrical hook or something like that? What do you do to honor the muse?
Yeah, I mean, in the truck, I always have pen and paper handy. I have Evernote on my phone. I have voice recorder on the phone. That I usually have something with me. I can record a couple words, write a text to myself or something, and always try to honor that. because right then I may not know if it's great or not. Write them all down, sort them out later is usually, how I handle it. Because it's great when that stuff hits you when you're in the middle of your writing mode, and so you can chase it right then. Mm-hmm. Most of the time it doesn't happen that way. I mean, a lot of times it does, I guess. But, sometimes, it does hit you in the grocery line or whatever. And that's when you get out the phone, you type yourself a little memo, in Evernote or on your phone, or write it down in the truck, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I just try to be mindful and be prepared.
Okay.
To capture that stuff when it happens. And
Sure.
so thankfully, these days with people's phones, you pretty much always have a recording device with you, which is great. So there's really no excuses for not being prepared.
I got one more question too. So about run reliable routes, run number 2, run reliable routes. So in football, oftentimes we get hostile towards the quarterback when he throws the ball and it's an interception, or when he throws the ball and there's nobody there. But oftentimes, even though that goes on the quarterback's record as an incomplete pass, which sucks, it's because the receiver ran the wrong route. Like he went the wrong way. He was supposed to go out, instead he went in, and so the ball went out because it's a timing thing. And the ball has to leave the hands of the quarterback before the guy is there in position to do it.
Exactly.
So he just runs down, turns to the left, opens his hands, and the ball should be right there, and he's got to catch it. Like, that's how fast, and it's lickety split like that. So my question is, because I'll give it just a quick sort of base to work on, foundation. I watched this incredible video that you can't see anymore on YouTube for whatever reason, but it was John Cleese talking about being creative, and that creative is a state of mind, right? And it's a work ethic, and that there are moments that you have to set aside to specifically be creative. And he talked specifically about an interaction. It seemed like, if my memory serves me correctly, this is a regular interaction between him and another troupe from the Monty Python group there, and how the other guy was always interested in just getting the job done. Like, we have this line right now, let's move on. And John Cleese would be like, I would always be like, no, we've got this amount of time. Let's not just do it and get it done. Let's keep going. And so likening that to running a reliable route. If it's a deep route, and you turn too early, you're not going to get it. But if it's a deep route and you just run and gun, and you go down there and just keep running until it comes down, it takes a little bit more time to develop, doesn't it? A football play like that. And so, I hope this isn't too distant of a correlation, but I feel like, even when it comes to creating subject lines for emails for me, or a title for a blog, I'll write 25. You know what I mean? Because the first 10 or 15 are going to be the easiest ones that are going to come, and then you got to really think about it. And so, running a reliable route, would you also say that is, even though you've got a route, keep going, because we can make it better, we can improve it.
Yeah, I think that's part of it, and I think it's being where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. So it relates a lot to get on the field, and we all have steps that maybe get us into that creative state of mind. Do that consistently. Be present. When you're supposed to be there, actually be there. Right. Which is a lot about the third point too. But yeah, it means you show up to your writer's room on a consistent basis. Okay. So to me, it's about whether it's, strapping up on the guitar and making sure you're in tune, and that you got the ink pen that you like to use, all that kind of stuff. You're reliable, you're there, you show up consistently. It's not enough just to get on the field once in a blue moon. Get on the field consistently. It's really about that, about being reliable. Show up, keep showing up. If you know what works for you, do that. Keep doing that. Try other things too, but you want to be professional.
Yeah. And not for nothing, if you're a writer that's just beginning to sort of take this seriously, I'll tell you this, the first couple sessions are going to be just uncomfortable because they're foreign for you. If you're just by yourself and you've allotted this time to write, it's going to be weird because you're used to thinking about other things. When I first started working out, in the gym, the whole time I toured, I never saw the inside of a gym in my life. When I came off the road, I decided I should get healthy, and and work out. And so in order to get myself in the habit of doing it every single day, I was at the gym. Now, some days I was just running. I was in and out in 25 minutes or 30 minutes. And some days I was working out. But every single day, I just made a mental mindset for 2 weeks. Show up for 2 weeks. Show up. If it's for 20 minutes or if it's for an hour and a half, show up so that my butt is there. And all of a sudden, I got into the groove and the sort of mental and biological rhythm of being there and working out, and then it seemed more natural at that point. I think that would help too with writers, like just get there and be and get used to it, and in a few days you'll get past all that kind of clutter that goes on in your head, like, did I leave the stove on? I should probably write that check for so and so. I wonder if Allison's going to call me back. And you just get into, you're able to sort of separate yourself from the rest of the world, turn off that spigot, and just focus on being creative.
Yeah, and really that leads wonderfully into the third down, which is work to get open. And by open, I mean to that headspace where you're open to ideas, right? So, if you run your route half-heartedly and let the defenders cover you, they'll either keep inspiration from throwing you a great idea or they'll knock it down before you catch it. This means you don't show up to your writing space and spend half your time on Twitter or thinking about what you need to get at the grocery store. Okay, these distractions are like the defense. They'll keep you from being able to catch that great idea. You have to keep your mind open to catching it. So you want to clear out the distractions and you want to work to get in the right headspace. And a lot of times it is work to get into that creative headspace. It is to get open. I mean, the defense, Stephen Pressfield calls it the resistance in this great book, The War of Art. Yeah. And you got to work. The resistance is there and it wants to eat your lunch, and you have to work to get open where the music can get through that. Yeah. And so, it's knowing, okay, if I keep checking my email, I don't get any ideas. I've been sitting around for 30 minutes. No, you've been on email for 25 of them. And the other 5 minutes you were thinking about email. Yeah. That's not working to get open. That's right.
That's a good point. And by the way, that's distracting if you're in a situation that's not solo. If you're in a group a co-write, because believe me, their resistance is working against them too, and they're trying everything that they can to get into the headspace. And if you're out there, man, sometimes that's all they need, right? It's like, oh, you're gonna be. I'll check my email too, and then we're accomplishing a whole lot of nothing. Everybody's got their emails checked.
Exactly. Like, I've had co-writes before where we've said to each other, because you end up with like 2 or 3 laptops all facing each other like Battleship, like the game Battleship, you know? Yeah. And
seen that a million times. That's so good.
Yeah. And every once in a while we just go, laptop check. And you got to turn it around like, okay, I'm not an email. Yeah.
Good. Oh, there you go. Keeping everybody honest. In check.
Like, okay, because it's so easy. You're right there and, like, I'll just click on over and I'm online. So there have been times where I'm writing and it's maybe at a new place where my laptop doesn't already know the Wi-Fi. And like, hey, you want the Wi-Fi? Nope.
Yep. Nope.
No, I don't.
Yep.
Don't need it.
I don't need that to type.
I just need my Word document, and I need my GarageBand. I'm good. If I got to check it, I got my phone, but that's a lot more obvious to pick that up. It's not as tempting. I put that to the side.
I love it.
So yeah, you got to work to get open. Keep those distractions out.
Right on.
Yep.
Number
ready
4.
for fourth down?
Yeah.
Fourth down. All right. Catch the short passes just like the long passes. All right. So not every pass, not every song idea is supposed to be a touchdown. It's just not built to be one. It may be a short little out route, a little something in the flats. But just because all inspiration has been thrown to you lately are the short passes, it's still your job to catch them with good technique and run like crazy. Okay. So like the short pass might be, it's an idea. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% on that. It's incredible. Mm-hmm. All right. Or maybe like, it's a co-write with somebody who maybe hasn't had a hit. They're not a quote unquote pro. So I'm not sure if that kind of thing. But it's still your job to take every one of those and treat it like it's, fourth down, 20-yard touchdown pass coming to you.
Yeah, right. Like it's going to be a hit. Yeah,
exactly.
And put everything you can. I've mentioned this story before, but it bears repeating. When I first came to town, my buddy John Prestia said, hey, I know you're going to Nashville, and I know you don't have any friends up there. I'm like, yeah, I don't know anybody. And he's like, I want you to. I got a good friend up there. He's a hit songwriter. I'm gonna give you his number. I'm gonna tell him that you're coming, and go and meet him. And he'll get you plugged in. I was like, okay. So I went up there, and it was Kim Tribble, That's who I met. And sweetest man in the face of the planet.
He's cool.
We hung out all day, but I remember being blown away because I was the kind of writer that, I was writing for my band, so I was always writing with my band or by myself for the band. And I wasn't in a situation like that you're in with a bunch of different people who are really good at just writing or whatever. We're just doing our thing. But Kim was like, man, I write 12 songs a week.
Yeah.
Seriously. He goes, I write 12 songs a week. And he goes, and most of them are crap. He just admitted that. I couldn't believe he was admitted that. Like, dude, you've got like a bunch of number ones, And he's like, yeah, but I mean, I got to write a bunch of crappy ones to get to the good one. But he's always exercising and flexing that muscle, isn't he? He's always catching those short passes. And sometimes, I mean, if you think about it in football terms, man, you go through 3-4 games, 4 to 5 passes per game that you receive as a receiver. And it's all, 5 yards here, 8 yards there, 5 yards here, 8 yards there, 5 yards here, bomb, boom, glory, like there it is, and you write that going. So same kind of the idea is like, but get in there and do it, right?
Yeah, and I've written with Kim, and he writes hard. He's working, and he's getting on the field, consistently. He's running reliable routes. He's running his routes. He's doing his thing. He's getting that idea, and he's putting it through its paces. And he's working to get open. He's working to get enough ideas to write 12 songs a week and to get that. And then he's working on those short passes just like the long ones. He works hard on the songs that he calls crap, which I guarantee his crappy songs are better than most people's best.
Yeah.
So that's a relative term. But and the thing about, he shows up every day, and you can't just lollygag. Yeah, I said lollygag. Every day in practice, and then through 3 quarters of the game, and then think, fourth quarter, I'm just going to turn it on and be a superstar, because it doesn't work that way. You play like you practice. And so, and the other thing is, you catch the short passes with just as much concentration, focus, and precision as you do that, like the Hail Marys. Okay, so a short pass might be, like I said, a co-write with someone that isn't a pro or whatever, but you try to treat every opportunity like it's the game winner. And that way, when inspiration throws you the touchdown bomb, all you have to do with it is the same thing you've done with every other idea. You don't have to do anything different.
Yeah.
It just happens this time I'm 20 more yards down the field or whatever. I don't have to freak out and maybe drop it, take my eye off the ball, looking at the end zone or tripping over my feet or what. No, it's just I catch passes. I run my routes. I catch passes. This is what I do. Yeah. Just because the game's on the line, it's 4th down with a minute left. I just catch passes. This is what I do. So you want to treat every pass like the game is on the line and take everyone seriously. That way, when it is, it's another pass.
I can't think of anybody that I know, and I know a lot of songwriters and a lot of artists who wrote one song in their life and it was a number 1 hit, and that was good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they wrote a lot of songs, man.
Right.
You got to show up a lot. Like, I mean, I've heard interviews with John Lennon. I can't remember if it was John Lennon or Paul McCartney, but they're like, yeah, we Paul and I got together in the first 50 songs or so we wrote were total shite. Right. Like, they were terrible. And then we kind of figured it out, and then kind of figured out what we wanted to do. Because, something else that I want to add to this, because this is great information right here, but you also start to find your voice through this. You start to find your style through this. A guitar player, a vocalist, like when you have some sort of fingerprint that you want to put on some kind of piece of art, the only way you're going to do that is by really doing it over and over and over again, because sometimes you get bored or certain things don't agree with you, and so you stay away from that and you go over to this, and then you become really, really good at that one thing, that one niche, and then guess what? Now you're even more powerful than you were before when you were trying to be all things to all people, and you find your style.
And you find that, through repetition, through showing up, getting on the field. Yeah. And you find where you fit in. And another reason, just to wrap this 4th down up, is catching the short passes with just as much professionalism as the long ones, is you never know when you just might break a few tackles, and that so-called short pass might just make a Sports Center highlight. Like, he's rumbling, he's stumbling, he could go all the way. You just never know. There are people that, have been interviewed about songs that went, top 10 or became number one hits. They're like, did you know when you wrote it? You're like, nope. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
But I got a lot of good songs. Most of them aren't hits.
That's a good point. I mean, that's a really good point. Like, wait, just because you don't like it, just because it's, and it might be something like that day that's affecting you. You know what I mean? It's affecting, and by the way, that's the day you're creating, right? So that's the most important day, because that's the day you got to finish the song. But I mean, I remember this, like, quick little side note. Like, when I was on the road, our drummer J-Mo, was phenomenal. Okay, like he's played behind Eric Clapton, he's played behind the Allman Brothers, he's played behind Greg Allman's solo band, he's played with Grace Potter. I mean, like, he's a monster. And you talk about meter, he's like a freaking time machine. Like, he's like what do they call that, an atomic clock. You know what I mean? But that didn't stop me. I grew up with J-Mo. That didn't stop me from every single day turning around going, you're playing it slow. And he would just look at me and point down at like this blinking LED that he had that set the pace. So he would set the meter, the beats per minute to that, and that's what he would play to, and so he's like, no, but I felt one way, I felt like we were going too slow, and the next day I thought we were playing it too fast, just because it was what was going on with my life, Right, so just get through that, be consistent, get it done, and then you never know, it might be your C-list song, and somebody else is gonna be like, nope, that's the one we want right there, because that's perfect for so and so.
You're like, I thought it was stupid. They're like, yeah, that what's made it a hit. It might even be one of those. I thought it was kind of dumb. Yeah, well, like, John Mellencamp didn't like Jack and Diane.
Really?
Yeah, I heard that he didn't like it. And, well, guess what?
It turned out to be a huge one. Yeah.
Huge. So I'm glad he showed up, got open, ran with it.
And I'm sure,
tackles.
Jamie Johnson and whoever wrote Honky Donk Padonka Donk weren't sitting around going, this is going to change the world.
Right, yeah.
An even bigger version of that is Cynthia Weil and Barry Mann, who wrote You Lost That Lovin' Feelin'.
Oh.
Said she wrote the words, and she was complaining because when she sent it to, what's his face with the gun, the producer...
Oh, Phil Spector?
Phil Spector, who produced that. And she sent it to him, and he played it over the phone. And she's like, look, we can change it. I mean, we're not going to change the world with any song that has whoa, whoa, whoa in it. Like, you know what I mean? and Phil's like, no, it's perfect, man. We're gonna run with this right here. Like, he knew, Yeah. And I mean, I believe that. I don't know that there's any song that's been played more than that, and if there is, it's only one song, and that's probably Yesterday by the Beatles.
Yeah, that's ultimate classic. Yeah. So that's awesome. But, the point is, when you're looking to get yourself open to get those song ideas, you just want to play like a champion on every play. You want to write like a champion on every song, because you just never know when you, like I said, you may break a couple tackles. And besides, when the touchdown comes, it's your turn to catch that ball. You'll put in the reps, you'll put in the hours, you'll know what to do with it, and you'll be prepared for it.
You'll be much more. It's called creating your own luck. I love that.
Exactly. Harder I work, the luckier I get.
So with that, brother, we've got a little update from you on the adoption here. Like, what's been going on with that?
Yeah. If y'all followed us here on the podcast or over at my blog at songwritingpro.com, you know about Adoption August we had back in August, where every penny that we made off the that you guys spent at the Songwriting Pro store through, ebooks, courses, that kind of stuff. All that money is going directly to fund our adoption. We're bringing over 2 boys from China, Ren and Quill. So we're excited about that, but that mess is expensive. So, but thanks to y'all in August, we raised $2,100, basically $2,102.77 after we took out the store fees that we, but thank you guys so much for that. I mean, that's a nice chunk. And I've already moved the money over to the adoption account. So it's beefing that up, and it's all going to go toward bringing those boys home. So thank you very much. And on a related note, time is, Adoption August might be over, but you know what? How about Orphan Care October? Just, we still got some bills coming. We got some bills coming, some airline tickets to buy, all that kind of stuff. So if you do want to go check out the store, check out some stuff that's going to help you on your songwriting journey. Seriously, all that money is basically going to either our groceries here at the house, or it's going to bring those boys home. So if you just need an extra little push to go do that, there's your reason. Awesome.
Well, that's great, and you're getting some great information for me, and that's all there is to it. And in order to improve, you've really got to get some more input. We're only as good as the input that we receive, whatever that is. So the more input we get, the smarter you're going to be, the better songwriter you're going to be. So do it for yourself and help out a couple Chinese little boys to get some really good parents, man. So
thank you much.
There you go. Well, that brings us to the end of another C.L.I.M.B episode. We just want you to win, guys. We want you to improve. We think that this is the best time to be in the music industry, so keep on climbing.
And we'll see you at the top.